Imagine biting into a fresh, juicy strawberry and savoring its natural sweetness, only to find the flavor seems muted or even bland. Or you take a sip of lemonade, expecting that pleasing tang, but it tastes oddly bitter. These small disappointments can catch you off guard and sometimes leave you wondering if your sense of taste is simply not what it used to be. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many people over 65 notice that foods they used to love taste different now, or they can't distinguish sweet from sour as clearly. But there's a fascinating connection here that often goes overlooked. The way our taste buds and our brain interact can change how we perceive flavors. And these changes don't just affect our enjoyment of food, they can influence our overall health, well-being, and independence. One of the biggest challenges seniors face regarding taste is the gradual dulling of certain flavor sensations. You might think it's normal to lose all those wonderful taste experiences, and you might even tell yourself, well, this just comes with getting older. But here's why it matters more than most people realize. A reduced sense of taste can lead to poor appetite, nutritional deficiencies, and less enjoyment in one of life's fundamental pleasures: eating. Even mild deficits in nutrition can make daily tasks more challenging, reduce energy levels, and, over time, undermine your sense of autonomy. After all, maintaining your ability to choose and enjoy food independently is one of the cornerstones of living with dignity. Understanding how your taste buds and brain work together and learning ways to keep that partnership strong can turn what feels like an inevitable decline into a manageable, even enjoyable process of adaptation. Over the next several minutes, we're going to explore some science-backed insights about taste perception in seniors. We'll look at what might really be happening when sweet flavors seem dulled, or when sour and bitter notes become more pronounced. We'll talk about how your sense of taste is deeply connected to cognitive and neurological processes, meaning those simple taste buds in your mouth are actually part of a complex network that includes your brain. We'll also discuss why you might have more power to preserve and even enhance your taste than you think. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with practical tips and gentle strategies to help you maintain a vibrant, flavorful relationship with food. And when you know how to keep your sense of taste engaged, you also help protect your independence and satisfaction with life. My name is Morgan Hayes, and I've spent the last 25 years working in the field of functional aging, focusing on how to help older adults maintain physical, mental, and emotional vitality. It's been my passion to guide seniors in finding solutions that honor their life experience while embracing the best of modern knowledge. Over time, I've seen countless individuals transform their everyday routines by making simple tweaks to diet, movement, and sensory awareness so that they can feel more in control and more fully alive. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, and everything I share is based on research, professional observations, and wisdom from colleagues who specialize in aging. If you have any particular medical concerns, it's always a good idea to consult your healthcare provider. As you watch, I encourage you to think about how these insights might apply to your own life. Picture yourself enjoying a meal without wondering, why doesn't this taste right? Imagine confidently choosing foods you love because you know exactly how to keep your taste buds sharp and your mind engaged. Ready to explore? Let's dive into the first big idea that can change the way you think about taste at any age. Before we jump in, take a moment to reflect. What's your favorite food memory from childhood? Was it a homemade pie with the perfect blend of sweet and tangy? Or maybe a savory dish that filled your home with comforting aromas? Keep that memory in mind. By the end of this video, I hope you'll feel a renewed sense of possibility about reclaiming some of those simple yet powerful joys. Let's begin. First point, the surprising complexity of your taste buds. You might think taste buds are just tiny bumps on your tongue that let you sense sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. But that assumption misses something critical about how intricate the taste system really is. A common misconception among many older adults is that once taste buds start to wear out, there's nothing that can be done. People say, "Oh, I must have burned out my taste buds years ago, so of course everything's bland." The truth, however, is that these buds are constantly regenerating, though the process can slow down a bit with age. and they operate in partnership with multiple parts of your body, including your nose and your brain. Consider Eleanor, 73, who always loved the sweetness of fresh fruit. In the last few years, she noticed she had to add spoonfuls of sugar to her morning oatmeal to get the same level of taste. She worried that her sense of taste was fading beyond repair. Yet after some gentle coaching from a friend who's a dietitian, she discovered that it wasn't just her taste buds at work. She also had mild nasal congestion that reduced her ability to smell, which directly impacted how she perceived flavor. Once she started addressing the congestion by using saline nasal rinses and paying attention to indoor air quality, she found that she could taste the natural sweetness in foods much better. She didn't need so much added sugar after all. That example illustrates how taste is a full-body experience, involving not just your tongue, but also your sense of smell, the texture of the food, and the signals sent to your brain. If you've been assuming that a loss of taste is final, it's worth reconsidering. The physical structure of your taste buds does change somewhat as you grow older, but it's not a closed chapter. Simple actions, such as addressing dry mouth or nasal congestion, can have a profound effect. From an evidence-based standpoint, researchers have shown that fluid intake, oral hygiene, and even mindful breathing techniques can all improve how taste sensations are received. For practical steps, start with a quick self-assessment. Are you staying hydrated? Older adults are more prone to dehydration due to changes in thirst mechanisms, and a dry mouth can seriously mute flavors. Keep a glass of water or herbal tea nearby throughout the day. Next, pay attention to the aroma of your foods. If your nasal passages are often stuffed, consider speaking to a professional about safe decongestants or using a humidifier at night. And remember, taste buds regenerate approximately every 1 to 2 weeks. They may not regenerate as swiftly as they did in your 20s, but they do keep renewing. So supporting their environment through hydration and good oral care can yield noticeable benefits. Physically, these steps help your body maintain clearer communication pathways between your tongue, nose, and brain. Emotionally, the realization that you're not doomed to a life of bland meals can be incredibly liberating. Even a small improvement in taste sensitivity can spark joy in everyday experiences, like savoring a piece of fruit without needing to sprinkle it with extra sugar or salt. If you're nodding along or have questions popping into your head right now, that's great. Keep those thoughts because they'll connect with the next point about how your brain interprets what you taste. Before we move on, I'd love to know, do you notice any difference in taste when you're more hydrated or when you're dealing with sinus issues? Take a mental note or jot it down. It might help you spot patterns you weren't aware of. Second point, your brain is a taste translator. We often think taste happens only in our mouths, but the brain actually translates the signals from your taste buds into the flavors you perceive. A common misunderstanding among older adults is that if the tongue can't detect a flavor, it's simply gone. But in fact, your brain can amplify or dull tastes based on your overall neurological health, emotions, and even memories. Meet Harold, 78, who prided himself on having a sweet tooth all his life. Lately, though, chocolate barely gave him that warm, comforting satisfaction he used to love. He figured his tongue was the culprit. But after talking with a counselor about some recent stress in his life, his daughter had moved across the country, and he was feeling more isolated. He discovered that his emotional state significantly impacted how the brain processed taste signals. When he was stressed or feeling low, the signals from his taste buds didn't register the same pleasurable intensity. After he addressed his feelings of isolation by joining a local community group, his enjoyment of sweet treats improved noticeably. The takeaway: your brain is the final arbiter of whether you perceive something as wonderfully sweet, bracingly sour, or disappointingly bland. Research backs this up. Stress hormones like cortisol can interfere with sensory processing, and chronic stress can even alter the way your neurotransmitters behave. That's why if you're dealing with ongoing emotional strain, you might find that food tastes less appealing, even if your tongue is technically able to detect those flavors. So how do you harness your brain's taste translating power? First, recognize that emotional well-being is a key component of sensory health. Addressing feelings of loneliness, anxiety, or depression can help restore some of the flavor nuances you might think you've lost for good. Engaging in light to moderate exercise like a daily walk or gentle yoga can boost neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which in turn can heighten your overall sensory experience. Another practical step, try mindful tasting. Instead of gulping down your morning coffee, pause and really savor the aroma, temperature, and flavor notes. This encourages your brain to be more attentive to taste signals, effectively reminding it of what you're experiencing. When your brain is engaged, not only do you perceive flavors more vividly, but you also create stronger memory associations with foods. This can lead to healthier eating habits and a more positive emotional relationship with mealtime. On a physical level, you might find yourself making wiser food choices because you're truly tasting what you're eating, recognizing the natural sweetness of fruit, for example, instead of automatically reaching for a high-sugar dessert. Emotionally, rebuilding your connection with taste can reinforce a sense of independence. You get to choose what you eat and actually enjoy it, rather than feeling you must force down bland options out of necessity. Now take a moment to reflect. Have there been times when stress, grief, or worry seemed to steal away your appetite or enjoyment of food? If so, you felt firsthand how the brain can override the signals from your taste buds. Consider one small step you could take this week, like calling a friend to chat or trying a brief relaxation exercise before meals, to lessen the impact of stress on your taste experiences. Stay tuned because we're about to see how nutrition itself can play a powerful role in fortifying both your taste buds and your brain, creating a beneficial cycle that supports overall vitality. Third point, nutrition's role in taste maintenance. You might assume that if taste is fading, then adding more salt, sugar, or spices is the only way to cope. It's a common misconception. If I can't taste it, just add more flavor. But while enhancing flavors can be fun occasionally, habitually overdoing salt or sugar can lead to complications such as elevated blood pressure or unstable blood sugar levels. This approach doesn't solve the root issue, it simply masks it. In truth, balanced nutrition can actually help preserve and even improve your ability to taste by ensuring your body, especially your sensory and neurological systems, gets the nutrients it needs. Take the story of Rosa, 76, who loved cooking but noticed her meals were becoming saltier by the month. She felt she had no choice if she wanted to taste anything at all. However, when she started focusing on nutrient-dense foods, vegetables rich in vitamins A and C, whole grains for sustained energy, and lean proteins, she began to notice a shift. Vitamins and minerals support the regeneration of healthy cells, including those in the mouth and nervous system. Over time, Rosa found she didn't need excessive salt. Her taste sensitivity improved naturally because her body was no longer starved of the nutrients that keep her sensory receptors functioning optimally. Evidence-based nutrition guidelines for older adults often emphasize foods like leafy greens for folate and antioxidants, citrus fruits for vitamin C, and healthy fats from sources such as avocados and nuts. These nutrients don't just keep your muscles strong or your heart healthy, they also support the microstructures that enable your taste buds to detect flavors accurately. On a practical level, aim to include a variety of colors in your meals, dark greens, bright oranges, and reds. Diversity in your diet often means a broader range of essential vitamins and minerals. Emotionally, improving your diet can lead to more stable energy levels and better mood regulation, which, as we've already discussed, influences how the brain processes taste. Physically, you may notice less reliance on overly sweet or salty additives. Think of it as giving your taste system a tune-up, ensuring all the parts are well lubricated and in sync. One actionable tip: try experimenting with herbs and spices that offer depth without excessive sodium or sugar. Ingredients like basil, cilantro, ginger, cinnamon, and turmeric can unlock flavor complexities you might have forgotten existed. Another strategy is to pay attention to texture. Sometimes crunchiness or creaminess can amplify your enjoyment of a meal. For example, adding a handful of sliced almonds to a salad not only provides beneficial nutrients, but also enhances the tactile experience, which can help your brain register more flavor cues. Maintaining a balanced diet might feel like an extra chore, especially if you're used to cooking a certain way. But once you start noticing the benefits, like more distinct tastes and perhaps even improved overall health, you'll likely find that the effort is worthwhile. Consider this. If you nourish your body with the right building blocks, you're also nurturing your taste buds and the neural networks they rely on. And that means a better chance of enjoying flavors well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond, preserving a sense of autonomy at the dining table. Now that we've covered how nutrition directly impacts taste, it's a great moment to check in with yourself. How varied is your current diet? Do you tend to stick to the same few meals because you worry about flavor or preparation times? Jot down a few ideas, maybe a new colorful vegetable you want to try, or a wholesome recipe you've heard about. By taking tiny steps, you can build significant momentum in reclaiming and enhancing your sense of taste. Up next, we'll dive into an often overlooked factor in taste perception, your medication and supplement routine. Fourth point, medications, supplements, and taste interference. It's easy to blame aging alone for taste changes, but many people overlook how common medications and even certain supplements can affect flavor perception. A typical misconception is, my prescriptions are helping me manage my health. There's no downside besides maybe some drowsiness. In reality, numerous drugs and supplements list altered taste or dry mouth as potential side effects. Consider Robert, 81, who started noticing a persistent metallic taste in his mouth about 3 months ago. It dampened his appetite to the point where he was losing weight. He assumed, I'm just getting older, my taste is going. After a conversation with his pharmacist, Robert discovered that one of his newer medications, used to control blood pressure, was known to alter taste. By discussing alternatives with his doctor, he was able to switch to a different medication that managed his blood pressure without interfering so much with taste. The result? His appetite and enjoyment of meals soon rebounded. What does this mean for you? If you're on medications, especially those for blood pressure, cholesterol, or mood regulation, be aware that they can affect your taste buds or reduce saliva production, leading to dry mouth, which mutes flavors. Similarly, some supplements, particularly those containing zinc or iron, can leave a lingering metallic aftertaste. The point isn't to stop taking your prescriptions, never do that without professional guidance, but rather to be proactive in discussing any taste-related side effects with your healthcare provider or pharmacist. From a research standpoint, polypharmacy, being on multiple medications, is common among seniors, and the interactions between those meds can magnify side effects. If you've never had a medication review, consider asking for one. Sometimes small adjustments to dosage, timing, or even the form of the medication, such as switching from a pill to a liquid or vice versa, can reduce unwanted effects on taste. On a practical level, you might try spacing out when you take your supplements. For instance, if iron pills leave a metallic aftertaste, you could schedule them before bedtime rather than right before a meal. This way, you don't associate an unpleasant flavor with your food. Also, keep in mind the hydration tip. Sipping water throughout the day can help wash away residue, and chewing sugar-free gum can stimulate saliva production, further reducing uncomfortable tastes. Emotionally, it can be empowering to realize that some taste changes might have a straightforward fix, like adjusting a prescription, rather than being an irreversible sign of age. Physically, restoring your enjoyment of meals also means you're more likely to eat nutrient-rich foods, reinforcing overall health. Before we transition to our final point, think about your own medication or supplement regimen. Have you noticed a correlation between starting a new prescription and changes in how foods taste? If so, make a mental note to mention it at your next doctor's appointment. Taking charge of these conversations can make a real difference in preserving the flavors you love. Fifth point, practical strategies to keep taste sharp and engaging. By now, you've seen how your sense of taste is intertwined with multiple factors: the structural health of your taste buds, the brain's interpretation of signals, your emotional state, the quality of your nutrition, and even medications. But what are the day-to-day strategies that can bring these insights together so you feel a real difference in each bite you take? A common myth is that the only answer is keep spicing things up. Although exploring new flavors can be helpful, there's more to it than that. Let's look at Irma, 85, who decided to systematically experiment with ways to enhance her taste experience. She began with a taste journal, noting how flavors change depending on her mood, hydration, and medication schedule. She discovered that on mornings when she did a gentle stretching routine and drank 2 glasses of water before breakfast, her oatmeal tasted sweeter without extra sugar. On days she felt anxious, even her favorite pasta dish tasted dull, so she learned to set aside 5 minutes of deep breathing before mealtime. Over a few weeks, Irma found patterns that helped her customize her daily routine to maximize taste enjoyment. So, how can you do something similar? Here are some practical steps. 1. Keep a simple taste log. Write down what you eat and how it tastes. Make note of your mood, medications taken, and hydration level. Over time, you may see patterns that help you pinpoint issues. 2. Explore temperature and texture. Warm foods often deliver stronger aromas, enhancing the flavor. Alternatively, a crisp salad or crunchy raw vegetables can help your mouth and brain register textures that amplify taste. Experiment with different serving temperatures and food textures to discover what resonates with you. 3. Practice regular oral hygiene. Brushing your teeth, flossing, and cleaning your tongue can remove bacteria and debris that dull flavor perception. Many people skip tongue cleaning, but it can make a surprising difference. 4. Engage multiple senses, serve your meals on a brightly colored plate, or use garnishes that add visual appeal. When you engage your eyes and nose, your brain is more ready to process flavor information. 5. Seek out social meals. Eating with others often heightens our sensory experiences because conversation and shared enjoyment make mealtimes more emotionally fulfilling. Plus, you can compare taste impressions with someone else. Following these types of strategies can have both immediate and long-term benefits. Physically, you may notice improved appetite, better nutrition, and potentially fewer cravings for overly salty or sweet foods. Emotionally, regaining the pleasure of a delicious meal can boost your mood and sense of overall well-being, contributing to a stronger feeling of independence. As a transition to the conclusion, consider how each of the points we've discussed, taste bud structure, the brain's role, nutritional support, medication adjustments, and practical strategies, interlock like pieces of a puzzle. When you nurture each piece, you cultivate not just better taste, but also a more confident and fulfilling relationship with food and self-care. Before we wrap up, here's one last engagement prompt. Think of one meal you frequently eat that just doesn't taste as satisfying anymore. Which of the strategies above could you apply to reinvigorate that dish? Make a plan. Maybe it's adding fresh herbs, changing the temperature, reviewing when you took your medications, or incorporating a small mindfulness practice. Even a small step can open the door to rediscovering flavors you thought were lost. Now let's gather all these insights and chart a path forward. The beauty of taste is that it's not just about food, it's about how we connect to life's simple pleasures. When you consider that taste is influenced by everything from hydration to emotional well-being, from vitamins to medication side effects, you start to see how much is actually within your control. This isn't about reversing every aspect of aging or pretending that our bodies never change. Instead, it's about recognizing the remarkable adaptability we possess, even in our golden years. And that adaptability is closely tied to maintaining independence and a sense of dignity at every meal. Remember, you don't have to tackle everything at once. Small incremental steps, like staying better hydrated, talking to your doctor about medication side effects, or incorporating a few minutes of mindful breathing, can converge to produce noticeable improvements in how you perceive flavors. By restoring or enhancing your taste experiences, you're also supporting better nutrition, which feeds back into greater energy and overall health. Imagine looking forward to your meals again, not just for sustenance, but for genuine enjoyment. That's a key part of living fully, and it can have a ripple effect on every other aspect of your life. If you're feeling a sense of urgency, that's a good thing. It means you recognize this isn't just about whether you can taste the sweetness of a strawberry. It's about taking charge of your well-being. The changes in taste that often come with age can be subtle, creeping up slowly until they significantly affect your appetite and pleasure in eating. By addressing them now, you create a future where you can still share meals with friends and family, confidently explore new recipes, and maintain the joy of savoring life's flavors. So, what are some concrete next steps? On the simplest level, you might pick one strategy from each of the 5 points and experiment for a week or two. For example, increase your water intake, practice mindful tasting once a day, add one more nutritious food to your shopping list, review any medication that might be impacting flavor, and try a new herb or spice combination in your cooking. For those who want to go further, consider seeking a consultation with a dietitian or nutritionist specializing in senior health. If you suspect more complex issues, talk to your primary care provider or an ear, nose, and throat specialist about a taste and smell evaluation. And if you're someone who loves community and sharing experiences, you might form a tasting group, virtually or in person, to explore new recipes or flavors together. This can help reinforce good habits and turn what might feel like a solitary challenge into a shared journey toward better health and flavor appreciation. Whatever level of action feels right for you, the key is to start. By doing so, you're affirming that your sense of taste and the dignity it can foster is worth preserving. Even if you've felt discouraged in the past, remember that your body is incredibly adaptable. Just as you continue to grow in wisdom and life experience, your taste system can also adapt, regenerate, and surprise you with new joys. Thank you for joining me in this exploration. I hope you feel encouraged and ready to apply what you've learned. You have the agency to make choices that benefit your taste buds, your brain, and your sense of independence. If you found this information helpful, consider sharing it with a friend who might also be experiencing changes in taste. Perhaps leave a comment or share one strategy you're eager to try. Stay curious, stay empowered, and here's to a life filled with flavorful moments at any age. Enjoy your next meal, and let's keep embracing all that life has to offer with every tasty bite.